Yeah, I hit Colossal Cave on deck. Colossal Cave Mountain.
And that's where that pseudoscorpion is. And he said that this one, you get around that one by going this way, because the mouth of the light right here is more narrow than this one. And he said that, again, I always get to
I was worried about that with Antonio.
but we don't,
This big dude like me.
we don't have to.
That may be something.
Make sure I have me some music.
That looks creepy. Like some Dracula looking bat thing will come out.
Mm-hmm. Hello. I'm running into you. I hit my arm twice. They had a sinkhole in it. Yeah.
It's a watering hole.
A sinkhole. where they shuffle for gold. Precious minerals.
Floor waiting area. That's pretty cool.
2%. All right. Say hello.
Hello.
All right, I want to thank, this is me and Miss English here. My beautiful wife. Yeah, she's grammatically correct. And
The CCC worker.
say hello, CCC worker. Turn around, babe. Say hello. Say cheesy, cheesy, cheesy. Cheesy, cheesy, cheesy.
It's bright.
And it's me, that nigga. Again. I want to thank you guys for coming to Colossal Cave. All you YouTubers and YouTubettes, enjoy yourself. Signing off again.
Can squish in. You don't have to put a circle in here, please. Keep squeezing. There's one more. Perfect. Welcome to the movies and popcorn room. Gets that name because this wall behind you guys, if you take a look, you're gonna see these tiny little formations here popping up out of the wall. Kind of look like popcorn, but trust me, they don't taste like popcorn. That's because they have bat seasoning on them, so I definitely don't recommend trying them here today. But these little formations are actually formed because if you look up here at the top, you guys will see this white line that carries all the way across our room. That is pretty much just a hard water line left from about 12,000 years ago when our cave was last considered wet. We would have been standing under 13 feet of water. So of course when our cave started to dry out, the water line was dropping, CO2 is escaping the walls, and that's what blew that little air bubble here, which is what made these formations pop up out of the wall. But of course, popcorn does lead me to movies, because yes, we have had movies filmed here. We've had around 20 of them filmed here, stuff like National Geographic, Disney, but also quite a few low-budget horror films. If you guys are into really bad horror films, we do have a plaque outside with the list of movies and kind of their plot lines. I was informed quite a few of them are on Amazon Prime, so if you do want to have an interesting afternoon, that is where you're going to find them. But we're actually about a quarter mile from the entrance, so congratulations, you guys are about halfway done. So we're going to continue making our loop here. We're going to pass by 3 more display cases, but I'm going to tell you guys right now what's in them. So the first one is our bandit caves. That is because we had train robbers use our cave as a hideout from the police. There is rumors there's still gold in here, but good luck trying to find it because no one has found it yet. The next one is items that Frank Schmidt would have given you if you took one of his original tours. So you would have given him 25 cents, which sounds like a deal right now, right? He handed you a candle, a rope, because you had to rappel down into the lower cavern to start your tour. And then he handed you a hat with a carbine lantern attached to it, which is pretty much just a blowtorch on your head, which sounds fine for maybe 5 minutes. That's because your tour lasted anywhere between 5 hours and 5 days. That is because it was rumored that he took you into unmapped parts of our cave, which is just so lovely, right? But sadly, we can't harass him too much, because without him, no one would have come in and mapped out our cave system. So they did a 6-day-long expedition with actual surveyors. They quit on day 6 because they ran out of food, but they mapped out 39 miles to our cave system. We only go on half a mile of that, and that is because of our last display case, the men in the CCC. So when they come in to make all of our pathways, they're handed their equipment, and that's what's in that display case. But they're also handed the task of picking the path through the cave that we are currently walking on today. But because we were a protected cave, they actually weren't allowed to alter our walkways in any shape or form. So all of those are all natural and untouched, which is super cool about our cave. But you guys can take a look at all 3 of those display cases as we pass by. I'm heading down this little hallway here.
Hold it up. Sure.
That's pretty cool.
Give me that lantern.
That's the lost door. There is a figment of your imagination. Rather than coming out this hallway, there's an artifact from the Hogan Indians that we did discover in the entrance room. And they used to grind up seed grains to make food. In this second display case, these have to grind up harder minerals to make paint. pottery. Now you're not really going to see any cave paintings in the entrance room. It's not really considered anything home. However, if you do see a arrow or an out on the wall, please don't follow those.
All right, looks like everyone is caught up here. So I've made our big, gigantic loop. So we're gonna walk back down the hallway and drop down those stairs. That is the longest descending staircase we have in our cave. Now people like to call it the domino staircase, and that's because they believe if one person falls, we all fall. And I don't want to be the first person to figure out if that actually works, so please don't make me do that. So use the handrails as you guys walk down, but you guys can follow me.
Bring that light. Give me the light. I got it.
That's pretty cool. Canyon.
Oh, right there.
Yeah. Very cool.
Here you go. You want back now? Feel safe so you can feel better with your myself.
I'm not lost.
Come on.
Right there too.
This isn't really the main reason we stop in here. It's actually because you guys are seeing dirt for the first time in our cave. That's because this would have been a stagnant pond. So what happens with stagnant ponds in limestone caves is it starts creating a special type of formation right on top of that water. And it forms just like ice on a lake, which is how it gets the name of cave ice. But what's terrifying about cave ice is you have no idea how thick it is. So you guys will see all of this rubble piece of that cave ice. And you can't tell how thin it is or thick it is, and you can't even trust the same sheet to be the same thickness. And if you fall through, you have no idea how far of a drop it is. Luckily for these people, it was only about a foot drop, but some parts of our cave are measured around 15 to 16 feet, which is quite terrifying. When you stomp down, it sounds hollow underneath you, and that is how you know you're standing on cave ice. So you guys will take a look, you guys will see this part of the floor right here. That is cave ice. And cave ice is just built up of calcite crystal. And calcite crystal actually does something cool underneath a black light. So if you guys want to turn off your lanterns, it's going to be one really quick click to that button underneath the green light to turn it off. If you press and hold, it will just ignore you. Look for the green light on the side. Perfect. So if you guys take a look at the floor, you guys will see it glows green. And all of the purple parts you're seeing is UV light reflecting off that dirt and pollen coating. All of the green is our calcite crystal. So this is called bioluminescence. It happens in limestone caves. So all of our calcite crystal will glow green underneath a black light. But it doesn't just reflect it, it actually holds onto it. So if you guys take a look, you guys will see it actually glows back.
Wow.
So we pretty much have a big, gigantic glow stick of a cave. This part of the floor doesn't hold it that long, and that's because people abuse it on a daily basis. The less people actually abuse our formations, the longer it glows, upwards of 30 seconds or longer. It's actually long enough you can write your name or draw something and still take a photo of it. But, you know, the more people touch it, the less it glows. Because old Baldy is so far gone, he actually doesn't even hold on to that UV light at all, which is quite sad. But now that I've showed you the glow stick of our cave, we can turn our lanterns back on. It's going to be 2 clicks to that same button to turn on the orange setting, because that bright setting is very, very harsh on our poor eyes. Alright, so that's all I have for this room. So we're going to start making our way to the next room, but that does involve making it through this hallway. So you guys are going to drop down these stairs behind me. The bottom of these 5 stairs is the deepest point in our cave system today. That is 70 feet underneath the parking lot. Unless that scares you, then we're most definitely not 70 feet underneath the parking lot. But as soon as you guys pop up the other side, you guys are going to have to be very, very careful as you guys walk through here. And that is because there's quite a few formations right in the middle of our walkway that you guys are going to have to avoid. So please watch your head, shoulders, knees, and toes through this whole entire hallway so you don't hurt yourselves. Then at the end of this hallway, at the top of the stairs we're going to reach, you're going to see our construction shaft. So that is what the men in the CCC put in to get themselves, their equipment, and the flagstone down here and back up every day. But of course, they built it with real wood, and we just so happen to have real authentic termites living it up in there. So it's quite unsafe for us to actually use anymore. But it's the only thing you guys get to see above and below ground today. So when you guys are done here and you're in the parking lot to leave, if you look to the left of the exit sign, you'll see something that kind of looks like a sunken-in shed. It's not. That is the top of the construction shaft. And I do recommend taking a look at it because you can kind of judge how far we circled around into the cave system today. But with that, you guys can follow me and go take a look at the construction shaft. The top of the stairs is the construction shaft.
Yeah, that will do that. What?
Yeah.
Alright, we like to call this stop a breathtaking view. That's mostly because we just climbed about 3 flights of stairs the last minute or two, and you guys are probably feeling it right now. So we do take a little stop here so everyone can catch their breath, but we have this beautiful formation right here to stop and take a look at. So it is flowstone and dripstone, like I pointed out multiple times already. But this is where I like to talk about how it's actually formed. That is because a lot of people like to think it's rushing water that makes these formations. It's not. It is actually a slow trickle of water, so slow that it actually doesn't even make a sound. And that is why a lot of people like to call them our silent waterfalls. And that means it actually takes upwards of 1 million years for these formations to form, which I think is quite fascinating. But now that we've all kind of had a little moment to kind of catch our breath, we're going to start making our way to the next room. It does involve quite a few low-hanging formations, so if you're on the taller side, please watch your head through this whole hallway. But for the rest of us, at the end of the short hallway, we're going to drop down some stairs. Those are the steepest set of stairs we have in the cave, so please be very careful as you guys walk down them. But also, of course, right at the bottom of those stairs also just so happens to be the lowest hanging formation in the cave. So if you are any taller than 5'3", you are going to have to duck your head. And then there might be a few other formations as you walk into the next room you might have to avoid, but you guys can start following me.
Hey now.
We have entered the cave.
I don't know why, but this looks like something off of Jurassic Park.
Turn my head.
With the eggs, yeah.
Alright, if 7, 8 of you guys want to fill in on this little balcony down here, you guys can. But before you walk around me, please take a look at this hook that's in this rock and the rings on this formation, because I'll tell you about both of them. And then you guys can start filling in this little balcony down this way.
Yeah, not bad.
And then you two look at that side and then so you can see on that side. Alright, welcome to the sinkhole room. It actually gets that name because this big, gigantic hole in the ground they thought initially was a sinkhole. It's not a sinkhole, it is a cave-in, but we like to call it something different, and that is Frank's shortcut. That's because down at the bottom of this hole is the entrance to Frank's living room. We were just there about 15 minutes ago. This, of course, is where you're propelled down into the lower cavern to start one of your tours. And all you trusted as you're doing that was the tiny little hook that was in this rock that I was pointing out. I personally would not trust that. That is no thicker than a metal coat hanger. That actually was not the only scary thing that was happening at that time. That's because he had a bit of a fire hazard going on, and we know this because all of the blue and green little drip marks that are on this rock is all of his candle wax. So that's how we know his candle was right next to his rope, which in my opinion sounds like a big, gigantic fire hazard. And as far as we know, no one really died on one of Frank's tours, so I guess we can't harass him too much. So that's why I like to move on and tell you about this formation right here. So it has rings on it like tree rings, but we can't age it like we can with trees. We can only tell wet and dry periods in our cave. The wet period being that light color, that's that calcite crystal. And then the darker ring is the dry time, that is that dirt and pollen coating I was pointing out, so you guys can see the years of wet and dry cycles our cave goes through to build up and make all of the formations in our cave. But this is not the only cool thing our formations do. We have something that they do way cooler, and that is called cave bells. Our formations actually make sounds when you hit them, so if you guys listen, I will actually play two for you. So not all of our formations actually make sounds when you hit them. And a lot of people like to ask me, does that mean that they're hollow? They're not hollow, they're fully formed calcite crystal all the way through. So there's no air bubbles, no water pockets in them like that. It is just because calcite crystal is really great at reverberating sounds through it, and the sounds just vary just based on how pure the crystal is. They vary from really deep drum sounds all the way up to like the tapping glass cups. They by far are some of the most fascinating sounds I have ever heard. But sadly, this is the last room on our tour, but congratulations, you guys have survived all of the rooms. So we're gonna start making our way up out of the cave. So we're gonna walk up these stairs